Oh boy, should you or should you not summon for the LR AGL Cell Max? You guys have requested that I make this video before the banner actually comes out. That way you guys can hear what I have to say before actually going into the summons. And remember, when it comes to these sorts of videos, it is my opinion. I am not the, be all end all authority on all decisions that you should make in Dokkan. I am providing my own thoughts and opinions based on my own personal circumstances and what I think is most important for the general player base. So I'm saying all this because now that we have entered the metal cooler era, there has been a lot of conversation surrounding skipping, and a lot of people are very indignant about the fact that maybe myself or other people have recommended to skip. If you guys have seen my other videos on this topic, then you know that it's kind of a catch-22. You can't win no matter what, because if you summon on every single banner, you have no stones for any of them, and you're preying on getting lucky. If you don't summon on every banner, then you just got to live a little and not really getting to experience the game when the characters drop at their peakest, right? So it's very hard to find that fine line. And there's no way to possibly tell when a character is projected to be the best release of the year or ever, right? Normally when a character comes out, they will appreciate with time to a certain degree. But there are rare occurrences like Metal Cooler, for example, and I would say probably before that, LR Goma, where they would drop at a very inconveniently stupid time where you probably can't afford to summon and their banners suck. But as time goes by, not only do they appreciate in value, but they exponentially appreciate with value. And we're having that right now. Metal Cooler is clearly one of the best characters in the game. Movie Bosses is clearly one of the best teams in the game. Movie Boss and Terrifying Conquerors. So when we consider should you or should you not summon, since this Cell Max is a movie boss character, the main question should be, does this aid your mission in assembling the best movie boss team you can possibly run? Cell Max definitely contributes to the best movie boss setup, especially if you don't have Metal Cooler. So before we dive further into this, my answer is yes. I do think that you should try summoning at least a little bit on this banner. I do understand that there are other things to consider, which we'll talk about in the video, but for those of you who don't want to stick till the end, I know some of y'all are just like, dude, get to the point. I hate this. Here you go. My answer is yes. I think you should summon a little bit. That being said, let's go ahead and jump in and discuss further, because there's a lot more things to consider here, especially considering I am dropping this video before the banner comes out. We have no idea what the banner actually looks like other than Cell Max being there, and what I would imagine Broly would be there as well. Broly should be there since this is his first time coming back since his initial release. Broly showed up for Tanabata Part 2 last year. And okay, actually, he was part of this, the New Year's Carnival, but nobody cares about that. Like, an official return is going to be for this Tanabata Part 2, basically a year off. This Tanabata last year was a little bit later because they hadn't fine-tuned their schedule yet. From now on, Tanabata is going to be in July, and the Tanabata Part 2 LR will typically come back during the next Tanabata, which means Broly, after a year-long slumber, is making his return. Cell Max will do the same in 2027. So let's go ahead and map out this banner here, and let's go ahead and figure out what we're going to be looking at. I'm also going to remind you guys that for the Beast Gohan Part 1 banners, both Worldwide 2022 LRs were in there. Both Dokkan festivals, Part 1 Cooler, Part 2 AGL Super Saiyans. Most of us are under the assumption that Part 2 will also follow suit. However, Dokkan, they're run by a bunch of trolls, man. I swear, Geppy watches everything. He knows what we're thinking, and he will zag when we try to zig. Okay? So while we can all assume that the Worldwide Part 2 LRs are going to be on the Carnival banner, I want to remind you that may not happen. And also, if we look at last year, it doesn't look like it's going to be that way. Because if we map this out, we've got the headliner. So last year was Broly, this year's Cell Max. Then we have the previous Carnival release for 2025. That was before Broly. The previous Carnival release was Golden Week, which was KFC. So in this year's case, with Cell Max being the new one, the most recent Carnival to have released before that is actually not Broly, but it's actually Future Gohan. Future Gohan released in December. So do we throw Future Gohan in there, or do we wait longer for Future Gohan to come back? I'm going to just go ahead and put Future Gohan in here. And then the other previous Carnival release last year was Gotenks, because he released in 2024. So this year it would be Future Gohan and Broly. So our big three would be Cell Max, Broly, Wrathful Broly, and Future Gohan. Two of them are very good. Future Gohan is one of the best units in the game. Cell Max being Cell Max, and he's very strong, so he's also good. Those are our 3 carnivals. After that, look at that. You've got 2 yellow coin LRs. So since we were kind of thinking, we're probably going to get the worldwide part 2 LRs in there, may not happen. May not actually happen. But if it were to happen, this would be what the banner looks like. You got the 3 carnivals plus the worldwide carnivals. That's 5 carnivals on a single banner. That is also, by the way, double rates. If I were to guess, that's probably not going to happen. I think what they're going to do is they're going to give us the shaft, no carnival cooler, no carnival bird coup. That's my guess. I think we're going to get 2 other yellow coin LRs. That would be my guess. And then we have a bunch of rando nonsense to fill out the 10 unit lineup. Because you got 5 LRs, 5 SSRs. These are all banner units, actually. So I don't think these guys are banner. You know, whatever characters you want to throw in here. I just threw it in a bunch of movie bosses, whatever. So this is what the banner is going to look like, minus these 2 probably. Like worst case scenario, it's going to be the big 3, and then a couple of chumps, and then 5 randos. Okay. So does that look like a must summon? Not to the point where you should break the bank to get the Cell Max, but I still think it's worth pursuing because you got double rates. So that does kind of work in your favor, not just in general, but also for the free ticket summon. Everybody's going to be getting 7 free tickets by doing the Seriously Serious once. So there's your one chance to get him for free. But then on top of that, if you don't have Metal Cooler, I think it's worth attempting, because Metal Cooler is one of your best leads in the game. He will lead a Terrifying Conquerors and a movie boss sort of setup, but the next best thing would be to run an optimal movie boss setup. You wouldn't be able to run Metal Cooler, so have Cell Max pick up the slack. What Cell Max is going to do for you, I keep pointing this because this is our placeholder banner. We don't actually have the banner yet. But what Cell Max is going to do for you, unlike the Metal Cooler, is you're going to get a domain right away. 60% attack buff for movie boss for 2 turns. If you're running double Cell Max, you'll have 60% movie boss buff for 4 turns. So you'll be able to do a ton of damage, not only with the Cell Max, but with any other characters that are movie bosses on the team. So you're going to be getting some pretty nice numbers and nice synergy with the Cell Max. That is, of course, if you get the character. I do think it's worth throwing in a couple of stones, honestly. And now you might counter with, dude, GDC is coming up. But this again comes back to the initial topic that I mentioned at the beginning. We are at a point now with Dokkan seemingly where the gap between talent has diminished. There's actually one of the comments that I read in my previous video from one of you guys. The gap in talent is diminishing. So how do you make that decision between staying the course, continuing with our traditional saving methods, or indulging a little bit and just going for it? If you don't have Metal Cooler, going for a Cell Max leader skill to keep the movie boss ship afloat, I think it would be a good move. But just remember, GDC comes up in about a month. We're going to be getting GDC at the end of August. We're in the middle of July, so about a month and a half, and then GDC starts. Those characters should be the best in the game. Those characters should be the best aging characters in the game. Should is the important word there. They have clearly demonstrated that the monthly releases are also capable of being top tier releases. So you got to take a chance. You choose one or the other. If you go with movie bosses, Cell Max is part of that future. If you don't want to risk it, because it could just be a nasty vortex that you get stuck in, then maybe you don't summon. Skip that, skip this, whatever we've got coming up between, after Tanabata and GDC, and then wait for GDC. Remember, GDC is going to be bigger than any other celebration we've ever had, not just because it's GDC, but because they have explicitly stated it's going to be bigger. And I think it was a direct result of the anniversary only being 2 parts. That should be you guys should be reminded of that fact. We only had 2 parts during the 11th anniversary. There was no part 3. They talked about that explicitly, and they said that GDC is going to be bigger because it also is 400 million downloads. So the current prevailing theory is that GDC is going to have part 1, part 2, and even a part 3, similar to Legends. Maybe you want to be locked and loaded and be as equipped with your stones as possible to be ready for a triple wave of multiple banners. That's going to be a lot. So is it worth spending on Cell Max for that? The choice is yours. I think you could throw in a couple so that you can have a top tier movie boss team to go into GDC. But if you don't want to risk it, hey, don't do it. And that, my friends, is the masterclass of fence sitting. The trick is to lie face down with the post in your mouth. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like down below. Let me know in the comments is it worth for you summoning for Cell Max. If you've got a top tier Metal Cooler team, top to bottom, you don't need Cell Max. Cell Max is a luxury. you could run fine without them. So with that said, what are you gonna do? Also, are you mad at me for telling you to skip Metal Cooler? Be honest. I've seen some comments, man. Some of y'all are pissed. Also, be sure to subscribe for more Dokkan content in the future and click the notification bell so that you let YouTube know you want to see more of my stuff. Do it. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned and remember to Dokkan responsibly. Bye.